the rider was like, I cannot ride this pony anymore. My back is like completely done in. She was like, I had to go and see my physio and osteopath to help me out, and they've said do not ride this pony until it's sorted. I was like, okay, let's go. So I was asked to look at a beautiful pony, like stunning little boy. Oh God, he reminded me a lot of my first pony, like grey child's first pony, just so friggin' cute. Probably like 13 two hands, but really stocky little thing. German bred, bought from Germany, and his job is to teach the kid how to ride. So the kid's tiny, so it's going to be like a pony for the long run, but he's only 8 years old, so he's young, but he's got a beautiful temperament, stunning little paces. However, the rider that has been schooling him and keeping him in check noticed the last 6 months his training has plateaued. So he had a few incidences where he bolted in the canter. The canter seems to be the gate where everything is triggered and the behavior seems to escalate. So he bolted across the arena with a fully grown adult on him. And she said, you know, I said, anything else you need to tell me, like injury-wise or an accident? And she said, no. But I've noticed in the stable as well, he's quite head shy. You know, she said, we've never hit him, and our staff, like no one would ever do that. So he's come with that. So it's another learned behavior. Oh my gosh, this little pony, right. So I actually want to start this episode a bit differently, because I know I share with you like the common symptoms that I'm seeing and, you know, things like that with horses. But what I really wanted to show you is most of us, when it comes to assessing horses, needs to change, because a lot of us focus on the muscle development, the symmetry, you know, correct movement. Like, what even is correct movement nowadays? What is a symmetrical horse a sound horse? No. I've actually dealt with more asymmetrical horses that are better at their job and performing better and are more happier in themselves than like horses that are fully muscled, like fully symmetrical and are in pain. We need to change our thinking, and I'm going to propose that we start looking at horses with the first question of, what do we want our horse to do? So what is the discipline that we want to do, okay? Say it's dressage, great. So you're not going to go and buy a heavy breeded cob that has been built to pull, load, you know, load everything through the forehand. Okay, I'm not saying cobs can't do dressage. I have worked with many cobs that are doing dressage, but we can't expect their capacity and them to find that as easy and functional as a horse that's been bred for the demands of dressage, which require stability, postural control, and precision, right? We all know how precise dressage is. A little bit too much. No, I'm being playful, but you get it, right? It's a precise way that they want a horse to go. So when we know that, we then have to look at what is the structure of this horse that I'm buying. Not the bloody breed. I don't give a crap if, watch my language, I don't care if the horse has got the best breeding in the world. If it's not structurally built for the discipline that you want it to do, you're going to get problem after problem, expensive bills, time consuming, you name it. Then we need to ask ourselves is, what am I, you as the rider, built like? Because if we factor this in or turn it into like bodybuilders that go to the gym that are very, you know, big muscled, heavy, and then we ask them to go and do Pilates, reformer Pilates, I promise you now they're going to struggle. It doesn't mean they're not an athlete. It doesn't mean they're not fit and strong, but it's their body has been trained to do weightlifting or powerlifting. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with ourselves. How many of us actually look at our body, how we are put together? You know, some of us have these beautiful long legs. I'm not one of them. Some of us have these very short torsos. This is going to directly impact how you ride and how easy you find movements again. I'm not saying you can't train yourself to be good at whatever discipline. Of course you can. Hard work is required across every discipline. But if you want to find something a little bit more easier that you are built for, start to look at your body and start to ask yourself, what is my structure like? I'm just going to reverse because I'm just getting into the building right now. Let's get this down. There you go. Okay, so we've got what's the horse? What do we want the horse to do? What's the structure of the horse? What's the structure of me, the rider? What's the final point? What's the structure of you and the rider together? Because how many of you have sat on a horse? I know, like, I have more dominant left hand and a weaker right hip. Okay, that's from me doing my own work on myself. Now, if I'm going to ride a horse that has the same weaknesses or the same kind of compensations, we're going to actually make each other worse. Whereas if I'm sat on a horse that has the opposite to what I currently have weakness-wise, we might be able to like counterbalance each other. We have to start thinking this way, is how are we affecting the horse, and are me and the horse a good fit? So are we going to hamper each other? Are we going to strengthen each other? Or are we just going to have problem after problem? With this pony, so going back to this pony, he was a short, compact little man, right? Beautiful, but very rigid in the back. Now, as a therapist, I don't want to destabilize him. He's needing stability for dressage. He's required for the precision, which he can do structurally, but it's a different treatment to a horse that's big, long, dangly legs, large lever points. I might want to work on that horse's mobility. Like, everything I do or we do, we need to start to question the clinical reasoning to why we are doing it. So with the pony, I looked at the rider and she's saying, you know, I'm a very strong rider. I'm very like stable, very structurally strong in my torso. So this is actually where the rider and the horse are hampering each other. And if you put a more adaptable rider that wasn't as strong in the core as this rider, that rider might be able to absorb the rigidity of the spine that this rider is struggling with. These are all theories, but it's theories that myself and other therapists talk about, that we've seen for decades of doing our job, where there's only so much you can do as a therapist and should be doing before you start to question, okay, how are these systems working together? And if what I'm doing, is this going to hamper the way the horse goes or improve the way the horse goes? And in most cases, less is more. And in more cases, these conversations that I'm having with you today need to happen. We need to start having these open conversations, recognizing that everything is a system. There's so many variables and factors that come into play. And the more conversations, the more observation, clinical reasoning we can have, the quicker results you're going to get, the more money you're going to save, but most importantly, the more pain-free you and the horse are going to be. Which that's what we want, right? We want to enjoy the sport. It's an investment. It's a lifetime passion. So let's have some fun along the way. And if we can do it in a more efficient way, why don't we do it? If you haven't already, don't forget to give me a subscribe and like, and any questions, comment below.